Top 5 bounce back running backs for 2022. Let's dive in. Number 5. I know it's nasty, I know it's gross, and I know it's not popular to love Ezekiel Elliott, but he makes the number 5 on this list. Okay, so the worries about Ezekiel Elliott. Yes, his yards after contact per attempt have dropped in each of the last 3 seasons. Okay? Yes, he dealt with injuries. Yes, the workload has piled up. What we do know is that Jerry Jones will want to run Ezekiel Elliott into the ground, regardless of whatever we think. So as good as Tony Pollard is, as long as Ezekiel Elliott is healthy, he's probably the goal line back, the first down back, the do-it-all back for Dallas, with Tony Pollard sprinkled in a little bit. And if you look at Zeke's production last year, before the torn PCL in week 4, which he lumbered through for the entire season, weeks 1 through 3, he had 2.72 yards after contact per attempt, which is not that far off from what he did in 2020. So, considering all of those factors, he's number 5 on the list. Let's keep moving. Number 4, Cam Akers. Yes, okay, I get it. Wasn't good in the playoffs. Yes, he had 2.4 yards per carry. I understand all of that. But after having more time to rehab from the Achilles, the promise that he showed in his rookie season, a full off season to not just rehab, but work on strengthening and getting faster and reclaiming some of that burst that he had in his rookie season, we've seen that the Rams will use him in a bell cow role, and he can get the passing down snaps. Although that we saw Darrell Henderson worked into that role in the Super Bowl, this team wants a workhorse running back. Cam Akers could be that guy, even if he is not as efficient as we would like. He's still locked inside of a top 5 offense as far as scoring potential. They're going to be in the red zone a ton. So the bounce back could happen for Cam Akers this season. Oh, and by the way, in that bad sample that we've talked about, that I've discussed about with yards per carry and things like that, 95% of his rushing yards in that sample came after contact. So some of this, with context, falls on the offensive line as well. Not skirting the blame, just keeping it real. Moving on, number 3, Miles Sanders. So Philadelphia, we know, is going to field, as long as they're healthy, which we're projecting health, is going to field a really good offensive line. Last year, they were top 10 in adjusted line yards, second level yards, and open field yards. So all this means running room for days for Miles Sanders. Now you add in the fact that his efficiency didn't fall off last year. He was 16th in yards created per touch, 5th in breakaway run rate. The fact is, he didn't score any touchdowns. 0, nada, zilch. You gotta believe at least the man's gonna get in the end zone at least once, more than once. And what we think is going to be an improved offense, we know that the offensive line, like I said, is going to be good. Jalen Hurts takes another step in 2022, then we're talking about an offense that's going to be in the red zone more often, and Lord help, Miles Sanders has got to score touchdowns. That all happens, he's bouncing back this season. All right, number 2, Saquon Barkley. Okay, I understand your concerns, your issues, you've been burnt before, and oh, the Giants stink. This is a new year for Saquon Barkley. Contract year, you know he wants to get the bag, so he is going to want to ball out. He's got another year coming off of the ACL. There's already been talks about he believes in his leg more. He's feeling like his burst is better. It's coming back. And you want to add in the other factors about the Giants, considering they talked about they want to get back to getting Saquon in more of a zone run heavy scheme. Last year we saw Saquon, his zone percentage dropped to 50%. When he was tearing the league up, it was at 62%. Also, we know the pass game role can be there. We've seen him be efficient as a wide receiver at the running back position. Now we talk about the offensive line. This offensive line is going to be worlds better than last season when they were 31st in adjusted line yards. Now, adding on to Andrew Thomas, we have John Feliciano, who in 2020 was the 13th best run blocking guard, and he was 9th best in zone run blocking grades per PFF. Now you also have to the mix Mark Glowinski, and I always butcher the man's name. Doesn't mean that he can't play football, just means I have my struggles. But Glowinski is awesome. As far as guards go in the NFL, the Indianapolis Colts should have never let that man go. He was 18th best in zone run blocking in 2021. And we add in the fact that the Giants also drafted Evan Neal, this offensive line is going to be immensely improved in 2022. If Saquon Barkley can stay healthy, the sky is the limit for not only him to secure the bag, but to be the engine that drives this Giants offense. And number 1, speaking of injury bias, it's the man himself, Christian McCaffrey. The fact remains, when Christian McCaffrey is on an NFL field, he is the best running back in the NFL. And as much as we love Jonathan Taylor, this really can't be disputed. I get he's only been limited to 10 games the last 2 seasons. In the 8 games where he has played 49% or more snaps, he is averaging 26 PPR points per game. That would have been good for the RB1 spot in each of the last 2 seasons. So there are a lot of people out there in the weeds that are much smarter than me about injuries that have discussed that all of Christian McCaffrey's injuries have been fluky. They're not predictive. If that's the case, then yes, he's still the 101. He could bounce back this year. So you need to be buying into these running backs for the 2022 season. Don't let the bias get you or bite you in the butt. Enjoy more content over at FantasyPros.com. I'll see you later.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out our featured videos. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Fantasy Pros, so you can get the latest news and updates to give you the edge you need in your fantasy league.